Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I've been loving maxi skirts for the spring season and I've been seeing these drawstring maxi skirts trending. I wanted to show you guys how to make those because they're actually pretty simple to do for beginners. So stay tuned as I walk you through the process from beginning to end. So for the fabric, you want to choose one that's lightweight that has a little bit of flow to it. I found this yellow cotton gingham and I thought it was the perfect fabric for this skirt. I bought 3 yards and that was the perfect amount. I had just a little bit left over. To make this skirt, you need 2 measurements. So you want to take the measurement of your waist and then you also want to take the measurement of how long you want the skirt to be. To measure your waist, you want to take your measuring tape and just wrap it around the smallest part of your waist. This is mine right here. Now for the length of your skirt, you want to take your measuring tape and start where you want your skirt to sit. I want mine to sit on my waist, so I'm going to measure from my waist down. If you want yours to sit like on your hips, you want to start from your hips down. Alright, so now we're going to cut the 2 panels that we need for the skirt. We need a front and a back panel. To find the width of your panel, you want to take your waist measurement, multiply it by 2.5, and then you want to divide it by 2. That's going to give you the width that you need. Now for the length, you're just going to measure down the length that you made and add about 2 inches for seam allowance to your skirt. These are the measurements that I ended up going with. Because the size that I needed is similar to the width that the fabric already comes in, I didn't even change the width of the fabric, I just ended up cutting the length of it. And remember, you're cutting 2 panels that's the same size, one for the front and one for the back. So now we're going to put that to the side and cut out our remaining pieces. We're going to start with the little ties that we need. So in total, you need 2 ties that's 3 times the width of your fabric by 1.5 inches long. So to do this, I just cut out 3 panels that are the same width as my fabric, and I end up sewing them together to make one long strip of fabric. Now, if your fabric is long enough to make one continuous strip, that's probably best, but mine wasn't, and you can easily just sew them together to make it work too. So now we're going to cut the channel for our drawstrings. So in total, you need 2 channels and you're going to cut out 2 pieces of fabric that is the width of your fabric minus 1 inch by 2 inches tall. This next step is optional, but I love pockets, so I'm going to add pockets to mine. So I used some spare fabric that I had and this pocket pattern that I made a while ago. If you don't have a pocket pattern, you can use an old pocket from like some old pajama pants, or you can just cut out like a square shape that's going to allow you to make pockets as well. You want to cut out 4 pocket pieces total and you want to make sure they mirror each other. So after cutting everything out, the first thing I'm going to do is sew those strap pieces together to make 2 separate really long straps. This next step is optional, but before I sew everything together, I'm using my serger to finish the seams on all of my fabric pieces. Okay, so now we're going to prep our straps. So to do this, you want to lay your fabric out flat, and the first thing I'm going to do is iron those seams. That way they're not really bulky whenever I go to fold my fabric together. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is take your strap and you're going to fold it in half. Once you fold it in half, you're going to take your iron and you're going to iron that flat. This is going to make a line down the center. So after you've done that, you want to open up that tie and you want to grab the outer fabric and you're going to fold it towards the center. Once you do that, you're going to take your iron again to iron that flat. After you've completed one side, you want to take the other side and fold that towards the center as well. And you're going to take your iron to iron that down too. After that's done, I'm going to fold in the top and the bottom and I'm going to use my iron to iron that flat as well. And the last step is to fold that tie over one more time and you're going to iron that flat. This is going to fold in all those raw seams and make one long continuous tie. And this is what your ties should look like once you're done. Now we're going to hem the top of our panels. So to do this, you want to lay your fabric down and you're going to fold over about 1/4 inch and iron that flat. If you didn't finish your seams like I did, you want to do a double fold to completely encase those raw edges. But if you finish your seams like me, you can just do 1/4 inch fold and you're going to be good. You also want to make sure you're folding towards the wrong side of your fabric. Okay, so while we still have that iron out, we're going to prep our casings. So you want to take that casing piece that we made and you want to fold over the sides about 1/4 inch and iron that down. We're going to do that on both sides. After we've done that, we're going to take the same casing and we're going to fold over the top and the bottom about 1/4 inch and we're going to iron that flat. I'm going to iron all the way down the width of that fabric. And after all that ironing, this is what your casing should look like. Now you want to do a top stitch across the 2 end pieces of your casings. I'm also going to do a top stitch down the entire length of the ties. After the ties, I'm going to top stitch that top hem on both of my panels. After sewing for a bit, it's time to add our pockets. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to use a ruler to measure down 4 inches from the top on both sides of my fabric. After I've measured that, I'm going to lay my pocket pieces at the 4-inch mark. You want to place those pockets right sides together with your panel, and then you're going to sew them on. After sewing on your pockets, you want to iron down those seams, and then after you iron down those seams, I'm just going to do a top stitch across the side of that pocket to make sure it stays in place. Now it's time to sew our 2 panel pieces together. So you want to place them right sides together, and then you're going to sew them together at the side seams. You want to sew down around the pockets and then all the way down both sides of that skirt. After sewing both of those side seams, you want to go ahead and turn your skirt right side out. Now it's time to add the channel for our drawstrings. So you remember with our channel pieces, we folded the top and the bottom over about 1/4 of an inch. You want to take those channel pieces, fold it side down, and you want to place them onto the top of your skirt. I like to use the little hem that I use at the top as a guide, and I place the channel right under the guide. And remember that channel should be slightly smaller than the width of your skirt. After pinning your channels to the front and the back of your skirt, you want to top stitch along the top, the bottom, and across the middle of those channels. You want to make sure to leave both of the ends open. After sewing your channels, this is what it should look like. That line that we sewed down the middle makes 2 separate channels for our 2 different drawstrings we're going to insert into our skirt. And remember, we added the channels on both sides, so this is what your side seam should look like once you're done sewing. Okay, so now it's time to add our drawstrings into the channel. So to do this, you're going to take a safety pin and we're going to place that safety pin onto one end of our drawstring. Now we're going to take the side of our drawstring that has the safety pin in it and we're going to push it into that top channel. So once you insert it into that top channel, you're just going to push it with your fingers, and as you push, you want to pull that fabric through. After you fit your drawstring all the way through one side of your skirt, you're going to take that same drawstring and you're going to loop it through the other side of the skirt. And you're going to keep inserting it until you pull the string all the way through to the other side. Once the drawstring is already through, you want to keep adjusting it until both sides of that string are even. After adding that top drawstring, you want to take the bottom drawstring and insert it into that bottom channel. Except this time you want to insert it into the opposite side that you did the first one. That way, once that drawstring is all the way through, you're going to have a drawstring on both sides of your skirt. And the last step is to hem the bottom of your skirt. I'm just going to hem the bottom the same way I hem the top of the skirt. So once your skirt is hot off the sewing machine, this is what it looks like. I know it looks crazy because it's just one giant rectangle with some strings in it, but once you pull those drawstrings, it's going to fit you perfectly. The thing I love the most about making these skirts is that they're completely adjustable, and if you're somebody like me that fluctuates in size, you don't have to make a whole new skirt if you lose weight or if you gain weight. It's going to fit you no matter what because you can just pull the drawstrings to change the size of it. And with this skirt, honestly, more is more. So if you're on the fence about how much fabric to buy or how wide to cut your fabric, always cut it a little bit wider because I feel like the more volume you have in the skirt, the prettier it is. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. And thanks for watching. Bye.